On May the 6th, the world will witness something that has not happened in almost 70 years. I'm of course referring to the coronation of King Charles III. Some elements of the ceremony are more than 1,000 years old. So unless you're a time traveler or an expert on royal history, you're probably going to have some questions on what takes place during a coronation and why. What each step of the ceremony means. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you everything you need to know, such as what is coronation, the order of the service, who's attending, what this old chair is, and why you'll be seeing two crowns instead of just one. A coronation is the crowning of a sovereign, or a sovereign's consort. On May 6th, both the king and queen consort will be crowned together. In addition to being crowned, the new monarch will swear an oath, affirm the church, and promise to rule with honor, wisdom, and mercy. I should make one thing clear. Charles III is already the king. He became king the moment his mother passed away. So, the crowning doesn't actually make him the king. It's really just a symbolic gesture that highlights the duties and responsibilities, as well as the divine rights of the new monarch toward their country, their people, and the Church of England. Plus, it's a great excuse for a party, and everybody gets an extra day off work. Operation Golden Orb is the code name under which plans for King Charles's coronation had been drawn up. Coronation are held in Westminster Abbey, as they are primarily religious services overseen by the Archbishop of the day. Westminster Abbey has been the setting for every coronation since 1066, as well as 16 royal weddings. Before the abbey was built, coronations would take place wherever was convenient places like Bath, Oxford, or Canterbury. The abbey is even designed specifically with coronations in mind. Rebuilt in the century under the orders of King Henry III, it was redesigned with long transepts, specifically to accommodate the many guests required to witness a coronation. He also created what's known as the Coronation Theatre, the highly decorative space between the high altar and the choir stalls where the coronation ceremony actually takes place to this day. As of today, Westminster Abbey has played host to the coronation of 39 English and British monarchs. King Charles III will be number 40. In total, there will be about 2,000 guests, which is quite a bit less than the over 8,251 that attended the late Queen's coronation. Back in 1953, the officiating Archbishop and other high members of the clergy, the great officers of state, and many landed gentry all have official roles to play, so their attendance is guaranteed. Persons of nobility, the Prime Minister, and all members of the Cabinet, Prime Ministers of Commonwealth realms, governors of British overseas territories, foreign dignitaries and representatives, hereditary peers and their spouses can all expect an invitation. Firstly, the preparation. All arrangements are made by the Earl Marshal and the Coronation Committee on behalf of the Crown. Then, the procession. Their Majesties will travel from Buckingham Palace in the King's procession to Westminster Abbey in a Diamond Jubilee State coach, which was built in 2012 to celebrate the late Queen's 60th year on the throne. The incredible moment was described by a witness to the 1821 coronation of King George IV as follows, quote, "Something rustles. The room rises with the sort of feathered silk and thunder. Plumes wave, eyes sparkle, glasses are out, mouths smile. And one man becomes the prime object of attraction to thousands, or woman in case." The actual coronation service will begin at Westminster Abbey. The ceremony itself will have 6 main parts. The first part is the recognition. The Archbishop facing east calls upon numerous attendees, such as the Lord Great Chamberlain and Earl Marshal, to all recognize the sovereign, asking them, "I here present unto you King Charles. You are undoubted king, wherefore all you who have come this day to service, are you willing to do the same?" They then repeat the process 3 more times, facing to the south, west, then north. After each presentation, the people will shout, "Long live the king!" The second part is the oath. After they affirm and acclaim the new monarch, the sovereign returns to a chair of state, and the archbishop administers an oath. The oath is a promise made by the sovereign to, among other things, swear to govern the people not just in the United Kingdom, but also in Commonwealth territories around the world, to govern according to different territories' respective laws and customs, to execute law, justice, and in their judgments, to maintain the laws of God and the true profession of the gospel, and to maintain the Protestant Reformed religion in the United Kingdom. After making the oath, the sovereign then removes their robes and takes their seats on the coronation chair. Made over 700 years ago and first used at the coronation of King Edward II, the coronation chair is 2 meters high and made of Baltic oak. Originally, it was grandly decorated with gold and glass, and it's possible to see some of the original engravings if you look very closely. Take note that the chair is placed facing the high altar, and the sovereign sits with their back to the whole congregation, highlighting the religious nature of the coronation, and a reminder that the monarch has sworn an oath not only to their people but to God himself. Directly underneath the seat of the chair will seat the stone or stone of destiny. Now seated in the coronation chair, the sovereign will be anointed under a golden cloth. The anointing is the holiest part of ceremony. During the anointing, along with leading prayers, the Archbishop of Canterbury makes a cross with holy oil on the forehead of the king or queen, and daubs the oils elsewhere on the body, as a visual display to the public and the physical reminder to the sovereign that the king or queen has been chosen by God. The holy oil that will be used during the coronation of King Charles III has been made using olives from 2 groves on the Mount of Olives just outside Jerusalem. The olives were pressed near Bethlehem, and the oil perfumed with sesame, cinnamon, jasmine or blossom, and amber from a recipe formula dating back centuries. Queen Consort Camilla will also be blessed with the oil. After kneeling at a fold stool for a final prayer, the sovereign then takes their seat in the coronation chair for the investiture. This is when the royal monarch receives the royal regalia. Here is the list of primary items used. First, the sovereign is draped in the robe royal stole royal, and the super tunica, a long coat of gold silk fastened by sword belt. Then the given spurs to represent chivalry, the jeweled sword of offering to be used for the protection of good and punishment of evil, and to bracelets representing sincerity and wisdom. Next, the orbs are mounted by a cross representing Jesus's rule over the world, a ring to represent the sovereign's marriage to the nation, the scepter with dove representing equity and mercy, and the scepter with cross representing the new monarch's temporal power as head of state. The climax of the whole proceeding, the crowning, is the moment when St. Edward's crown is placed on the head of the new sovereign. The crowning is usually done by the Archbishop of Canterbury, assisted by the Dean of Westminster. This crown is the only time he will ever use it in his life, so it's a once-in-a-reign opportunity. Let's have a little look at this royal piece of bling. Because it weighs nearly 5 pounds and the solid gold frame is adorned with 440 for precious stones. It features these 4 crosses with these curved sides. These are known as the cross-pate. And then these for fleur-de-lis. These are the symbols of French royalty, and so perhaps this dates back to English claims over France. And then we have the 2 arches that are topped with the orb and the cross, and this represents the Christian faith foreign. After the monarch is crowned, the guests in the abbey cry, and the bells ring throughout the kingdom, and gun salutes takes place in the capital. Lastly, the archbishop recites a final prayer, and the guests with heads bowed to conclude Amen. Finally, the sovereign is moved on to their throne as acts of homage take place. Archbishops and bishops swear their fealty. The peers pay homage, as does the clergy, followed by members of the royal family. It is at this point that if there is a queen or prince consort, their anointing, investiture and crowning will take place. Okay. Once Charles and Camilla have both been crowned, there will be another procession back to Buckingham Palace. This one will retrace the same route that was used earlier, but will be much more spectacular. Around 6,000 military personnel will be involved, although, again, This is less than during the late Queen's coronation. She had around 16,000. And on the return journey, the King and Queen will ride in a different coach. At this point, they will use the Gold State coach. It's over 250 years old, weighs 4 tons and cost about $4 million in today's money to build. One of the last highlights of the day will be the royal family's appearance on the Buckingham Palace balcony. At this point, you will once again only see the 11 working members of the royal family that I mentioned earlier, as well as Princess Anne's husband, the 3 Wales children, and the 2 Edinburgh children, so 17 in total. Thanks for watching.